Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and it is happening, and you can see it all swirling around us now, and I'm going to lay all of that out. There's a lot of different government agencies and politicians that are getting involved in this, and you can see it's almost like a coordinated effort going on. In conjunction with that, I felt that it was necessary that we in social media pushed or at least leaned on the people in traditional finance, the traditional financial media to get them to start covering this big news that banks are going to custody cryptocurrencies. And so I'll show you where I did that. But first I wanted to show you, look how the market has added close to $10 billion in the last 24 hours, which we haven't seen that happen in a while. And you can see a lot of green here, and you can tell that people out there get it, because there's a big difference between new money coming in and these different coins just pumping and money flowing from one into another. New money is what we've been watching and waiting for. But if you get nothing, listen closely here, folks. And I was telling someone this on the phone a minute ago. If you get nothing out of the news of yesterday except this, the U.S. government just put the stamp of approval, and they said, in essence, okay, this is the new digital asset class, and so now banks are going to be able to custody these digital assets. So the question you need to ask yourself, or any of your friends and family out there need to ask themselves, if all of the thousands of banks across the United States that control around $11 trillion, as we showed yesterday, if there's $287 billion in this market right now, and at some point, probably sooner rather than later, all of a sudden, thousands of banks that control over $11 trillion across the country are going to be offering products and services around digital assets, because you better believe if they're going to custody them, they're not just going to sit there. There's going to be money made off of this. So if that's their advisors, and I'll show you something on that in a minute, their advisors are going to be trained to sell these digital assets to the people. And most importantly, I've been talking about this for 2 years, the advisors are going to have a monetary incentive, which is what they've needed all along, to sell you on the idea that you need digital assets in your portfolio. All right. So the question is, why would you not own digital assets ahead of the banks opening up for business? You'd have to be crazy not to get in on the action. And anybody who laughs at it now, it's at their own peril. Okay. Now, let's go through this. There's a lot of tweets that came out today that are just fascinating. Here's one of them from Stephanie Starr. The regions in Tampa, Florida on Hillsborough Avenue is out of cash. People are at the bank and pissed they cannot withdraw their money. And then this guy replies and says, I was just at a large grocery store chain where I live, and the teller, Save On Foods, and the teller told me they've been told they're going cashless. What in the world is that, folks? What in the world? And then, so this is my trying to get the media involved. To me, one of the people who has been the most fair to digital assets and covered it the best is Julia Chatterley at CNN. And she actually responded. I said, hi, Julia Chatterley. You have done a great job covering the digital asset space. I'm looking for your coverage of recent OCC news about banks being allowed to custody digital assets. I want to show the clips. So I'm asking her where they are. She says, don't worry. I'm definitely watching and working on it. So we know that CNN is about to help get this ball rolling too. So there you go. And I love helping to prod that along when I'm able to. DJ Peter Voss sent this out. Pack Global CMO. Ripple is more prepared to work with banks than others. All right. You think? And then there was this tweet from David Goekstein. At the end of the day, Ripple is more prepared to work with banks than any other digital asset. You better believe it. All right. I'm showing you tons of tweets, I know, but there are so many interesting ones. If you've ever wondered if the powers that be, like Chris Giancarlo and all these guys in government, if you ever wondered whether they listen to any of us out here, this is a poll that was posted by Thinking Crypto. What should Brian Brooks' crypto nickname be? What should his crypto nickname be? We already have Crypto Dad, Chris Giancarlo, and Crypto Mom, Hester Pierce. Bitcoin, and then he's got all those things. And Chris Giancarlo tweets it out and says, how about Crypto Comptroller? So, there you go, folks. These guys are watching. They know exactly what we're talking about. Michelle Vandenberg sent me this. This is interesting right here. I'm going to read the first part of it to you. Game on. This is Caitlin Long, who, she works in Wyoming, appointee to Wyoming Blockchain Select Committee. They've been very aggressive in Wyoming with their blockchain laws. She says, game on. The OCC's announcement that it's following Wyoming by allowing national banks to custody digital assets is great news for crypto. Long overdue and hopefully will help U.S. regain ground it lost to other developed world countries by dilly-dallying for so long. To winners, customers, and crypto VCs. This will spur an M&A boom as U.S. banks acquire digital asset custodians. Most must sell because of trust charters now obsolete. BitLicense is now obsolete. What was done in New York. OCC leapfrogged them. Custodians now must have a bank charter to be competitive. And then she goes on and on. There's all kinds of interesting things here. I'm not going to go any further. All right. Now, all of this bank stuff going on, I wanted to remind some of you, and I know some of you never saw this. I'm about to blow some of your minds. A lot of you did see it. But if you never have seen this, it's time to turn your ears on. Now, I have to warn you beforehand. What you are about to see was on Bitcoin Ben's show. And these guys, for whatever reason, on this particular show, they were dropping F-bombs left and right. So I want to warn my audience. I don't normally play this kind of stuff, but the sound clip is so good and it's so priceless that it's got to be played. Okay? So I'm going to play it, but I want if you got any kids listening right now, tell them to go out of the room because you've got to listen to a few F-bombs in order to hear this clip. Okay? I want to lay it out for you. These two guys work for it's an IRA, a digital asset IRA company. I think it's like an over-the-counter digital asset IRA company. I think it's called Perpetual Assets. Well, anyway, these guys, they were on Bitcoin Ben's show, and they're being interviewed. They're talking to him about how in their business it's so regulated that they have to go and attend these bank regulator courses or seminars for various reasons. So they're talking in this clip about what they heard from the mouths of the bank regulators while they're at this conference. Since we're talking about banks now being able to custody digital assets, this one's for those of you that said that the banks are never going to actually use XRP and the Ripple's failed, all this mess, whatever. Listen close. Here we go.
Will and I were in this training seminar for our compliance area, and we sat with all these fucking bank compliance offers, regulatory bodies. First of all, a little side note that has nothing to do with the future of crypto, but is you'd be shocked how a lot of these bankers talk about clients. It's very, very saddening. They indeed do treat everyone like they're fucking Pablo Escobar and fucking Bin Laden, or that's how they talk about clients behind closed doors. But in regards to the future, numerous people, and this is bankers and regulators who are involved in financial crime, compliance, onboarding, anti-money laundering. This is industry. These are people who talk to the CFOs and CEOs of banks and put the fear of God in them in regards to money laundering and compliance and blah, blah, blah. So there's a lot of validity here. I heard at least two people mention that the SWIFT system will be replaced in the next couple of years, in the next 3 years, in the next 5 years. These are people who aren't even in our space. They're in banking and money laundering and compliance and blah, blah, blah.
These
and
are the presenters too, he's mentioning.
These are speakers. Yeah, this isn't the fat lady from HR. Yeah, these are like speakers, investigators, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, was it? It was Ripple. One of them mentioned, right?
Yep.
Well, yeah,
Ripple verbatim. Swift is going to be replaced. Yeah,
Swift will be replaced by Ripple in the next 5 years. Blah blah. And this is like she owns her own. Like this is a badass woman. I actually liked her a lot of respect for her. But another woman mentioned the same thing. It's here to fuck.
It's here to stay. Ripple, folks. It's always been Ripple. It's always been XRP. I'll never forget when I was interviewing Greg Kidd, and I said, "So, are you saying that the Nostro and Vostro accounts, there's trillions of dollars there? Are you saying that XRP, a lot of that money could be flowing through XRP?" He says, "I'm saying that it'll replace XRP. Trillions. All right, moving along. Now, one thing I've said on this show for the last over 2 years, over and over. I was a financial advisor at Morgan Stanley back in the day. And one thing I learned from being a financial advisor, and I've talked about how every morning as a financial advisor, we would have a meeting, and they would bring in a company like a Franklin Templeton that has a new mutual fund or whatever, and they would bring us donuts. And then and they would tell us what this mutual fund is about. And at the end of the meeting, somebody always would raise their hand and say, "How do we get paid?" Always. That was always the last question and the last answer that they always had on the tip of their tongue, because that's what everybody in the room cared about. How do I get paid? Well, I've told you on this channel for over 2 years now that these financial advisors are telling all of their clients, stay away from Bitcoin because they can't get paid yet. Grayscale tweeted this out today. "We know that advisors' clients are getting crypto curious. Are yours? Join us in the upcoming in this webinar on Tuesday, July 28th at 2 p.m. to learn more on what and why of digital currency investing." In other words, come on, financial advisors, you're about to get paid. You're about to find out how you can get paid. And what happens to those of us who have been here when these guys finally can get paid? What happens when all of these thousands of banks that can now hold crypto, what happens when all of their advisors that are meeting with all these customers coming in the door, what happens when they can say, "Yeah, you ought to buy some of that XRP," and they have a financial incentive to tell you about it, folks. The game just changed. All right, Perfect Symmetry sent me this for all the ones who think the gold standard isn't coming back anytime soon. Please have a look at this puzzle of statements. Mark these words, XRP will be involved in all of this. And this is the tweet that he's looking at. A quote worthy of reviewing. This is from President Trump. "We used to have a very, very solid country because it was based on the gold standard. It would be tough to bring it back because we don't have the gold. Other places have the gold." Then this is Judy Shelton. "I like the idea of a gold-backed currency. It could even be done in a cryptocurrency sort of way. A unified money system, so when you talk about the international marketplace, everyone is playing on a level monetary playing field. You can't just print more gold. It could even be done in a cryptocurrency sort of way. Thanks for the vote of confidence. Agree with new gold standard approach." And here's this. "Germany repatriated 31 billion of gold from Paris to New York vaults, Turkey repatriated 220 tons from the Federal Reserve. The Netherlands repatriated 122 tons. Poland repatriated 100 tons of gold from the vaults in England. The repatriation is starting to make sense. Think why gold is valuable to everybody." You better believe it is. Peter Voss said, "I love this so much, I can't wait." A little extra info. Ripple recently mentioned PolySign, developed by Arthur Brito and David Schwartz, discussed at UbriCon 2019. Interestingly, PolySign was set up to manage trillions involved in institutional payments potentially where banks will hold digital assets for ODL. Polyson's custody solution supports the full spectrum of digital assets and is designed to scale to trillions under management. Expect big things in the very near future. The serious moves are occurring, leading towards XRP and Ripple's global takeover. Just take a look at the level, All right, next. Here's this crazy world we live in, folks. AT&T says 338,000 customers stopped paying phone bill during pandemic. We have no choice but for this world, this economy to be rolled into some type of, quote, new world order, some type of new financial system, folks, because this is a disaster and everybody knows it. CFTC put out two things today. There are no coincidences, folks. Breaking, the CFTC has just approved a final rule on the cross-border application of certain swap provisions under the Commodity Exchange Act. Then they tweeted this. Breaking, the CFTC just unanimously approved an amendment to the CFTC's 5HG order for the European Union. Matthew Line, I picked up on it. CFTC approved the financial provisions on cross-border swap lines. The Fed has swap lines with 15 current central banks. R3 Corda has a digital liquidity swap line protocol. I'll go quickly. These slides he's put out here. Swap lines. He's highlighting a few things here. Swap lines, So, as usual, the people in the XRP arena are all over it. And then finally, Representative Darren DeSoto, he's one of the guys that was on the Token Taxonomy Act, says pass two blockchain-related NDAA amendments. One, requiring Department of Defense report on potential defense uses of blockchain tech. Two, DLT adds blockchain DLT to definition of emerging tech for U.S. to maintain technological edge. Now, folks, I want to show you, I'm going to end with this. I had many people that were asking me about the Pure VPN. I talked about it on the show the other day. A lot of people didn't understand what a VPN was. I went out and I found a better video that explains to you, look, if you own digital assets or if you're just in social media, you should be very nervous about hackers and people hacking your computer, trying to steal your digital assets. You have to have a virtual private network. And the one that I recommend is Pure VPN. And this is the best video that I've found on it so that you can understand what a VPN does to try to keep, and I'm harping on security because there's a lot of new people that have not been around this space coming in. If you don't have a VPN, you got to get one. They're not that expensive, and there's a deal on this one that's like they're doing a 7-day trial for 99 cents. Once you have it, you will never want to go without it because it basically makes it appear that like you're surfing the internet from somewhere else so that people can't find out where you are and try to hack you. All right. So watch this, and it's very important.
Wondering what a VPN is and how it can help you on the internet? Think of a VPN as steroids for your devices, giving them the maximum firepower. Your devices will need this power to accomplish 3 epic tasks. 1. You'll be able to securely stream your favorite content on any device from anywhere in the world at blazing fast speeds. You'll be able to overcome content blocks, geo restrictions, and content censorships imposed in certain countries. 3. You and your activities will be invisible to hackers and spies, even when you're using public networks. Awesome, right? But how does a VPN do all this and more? By definition, VPN means virtual private network. And as boring as the name sounds, the servers in our network can help you in many wonderful ways. PureVPN has more than 750 servers in more than 180 locations around the world. PureVPN users are free to connect to any server of their choice in any location. Since you now have a private connection, you can access any streaming channel from anywhere. The data you sent via PureVPN gets encrypted and encapsulated inside a tunnel, allowing you to bypass any restriction and censorships in your country. Since your data is encrypted and is inside a tunnel, no hackers, spy, or even your ISP can see your online activities. In a nutshell, a VPN makes the internet free from restrictions, censorships, surveillance, and attacks. Exactly like it should be. You don't need to be techie to use a VPN. Just download the app for your desktop or smartphone and enjoy complete internet freedom. Essentially, once you go VPN, you never go back.
So that lays it out for you. You can surf the web anonymously, and all of a sudden, your IP address no longer shows to anyone. It shows up as a different IP address. And you can go in the description of this video, and there's a link that will take you straight to that 7-day trial right there. One thing about life, you're going to lose more than you win, but are you going to get up? Snoop Dogg. Great quote. I love it. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button and tell your friends and family that there's one thing about life. You are going to lose more than you win, but are you going to get up? Snoop Dogg. Thanks for listening.